Hello and welcome to the Irish Aesthete. Previously, we were examining the ruins of the Augustinian Priory in Cong, County Mayo, in the company of Sir William Wilde. Today, we're travelling further south to look at the remains of another Augustinian Priory. These are extracts from The Augustinian Houses of County Clare by Thomas Johnston Westrop, published originally by the Royal Society of Antiquaries of Ireland in 1900. Preeminent among the Augustinian houses stands the Abbey of Clare. It was one of a group of monasteries founded by the able but unscrupulous Donal More O'Brien, the last king of Munster. To it, in vivid dread of a future retribution for his bloodshedding cruelties and perjuries, he granted many a fair quarter of land. The fortunate preservation of his foundation charter enables us to some extent to create an estates map of the abbey lands from the ford of the Two Weirs at Clare Castle even out to the leap of Cuchulainn on the edge of the Atlantic. We only possess this charter in a copy made in 1461 for Tady, Bishop of Killaloe. In the papal taxation of 1302 to 1306, the abbey was assessed at 2 marks and the temporalities of its abbot at 3 marks. No other record occurs for a century and a half. About the end of that century, to judge from the ruins, the long church of Donal More was divided into nave and chancel by the erection of a plain and somewhat ungraceful belfry tower, resting on 2 pointed arches of much better design than the rest of the structure. On June 18, 1461, Tady, Bishop of Killaloe, seems to have been called upon to examine and exemplify the ancient charter. At the present time, it is impossible to discover the reason for this event, and evidently contemporaneous repairs of the southern wing of the domicile then happened. It occurred while Tig O'Brien was Prince of Thomond, but the annals of his not very eventful reign do not help us. We might at most conjecture that the prince may have undertaken some works on the abbey to ward off disease or unpopularity, for Macpherbus, in recording his death, says, "The multitudes of envious eyes and hearts shortened his days." The convent was formally dissolved by Henry VIII and granted, with other lands and religious houses, to Donogh, Baron Bilbracken, in 1543. The grantee was pledged to forsake the name O'Brien, to use the English manners, dress and language, to keep no kern or gallow glasses, to obey the king's laws and answer his writs, to attend the deputy and to succour no traitors. In 1573 and again in October 1578 it was re-granted to Connor, Earl of Thomond. It was held by Sir Donal O'Brien and his son Tig in 1584 and confirmed to other Earls of Thomond, to Donogh in January 1620 and to Henry in September 1661. It was occupied by a certain Robert Taylor about 1635. In 1681, Thomas Dinley's sketch of the abbey shows it as unroofed except for the southwest room with its high chimney. A small chapel, its gables boldly capped with large crosses, adjoined the east end of the abbey church and was evidently in use. Dinley tells us that the building was also thought to have been founded by the said Duke Lionel of Clarence in 1361 for the love he bore and in memory of a priory of that name in Suffolk where his first wife was buried. Dinley probably heard this unfounded legend from some English settler. And there we'll leave what is now known as Clare Abbey. In the next episode, we're travelling southeast to look at really extraordinary remains of one more Augustinian priory, this time in County Kilkenny. I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for watching The Irish Aesthete. Goodbye.